So today we've gone over a lot of information on how you can prepare for your post-secondary plans if you're looking to pursue education after leaving high school. As we look at the pillars of the Connect Academy, that college, career, community connections, we want to start actually thinking about how these situations, or these opportunities, I should say, for you are going to help you out in your next steps in your life. Post-secondary education is a huge financial investment and responsibility. So we don't only want to talk about the opportunities that the Muskego Norway School District can provide you to save some money. We also want to bring in Pat from Secure Futures to talk about ways that you can strategically find ways to navigate through the educational process after high school. Pat, welcome today. We have spent some time chatting with our counselors to learn about opportunities for our students where they can get post-secondary education credits while still in high school. Can you talk to us a little bit, or can you talk to our students and our parents a little bit about things they need to start thinking about to plan financially for their post-secondary education?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I've sort of adopted a philosophy that I didn't create, but someone else did from a long time ago. And I think parents and students need to begin with the end in mind. So the student's going to go on this journey where they're making a decision to go to college of some sort. And on the other end of that, when that journey is completed, there's going to be a career that they've been studying for that they want to begin. But there's an awful lot that's got to happen in between there as far as making decisions, and a lot of them are financial decisions. But the other thing that I think about is, beginning again with that end in mind, is what will it look like at the end after I have my career? Because there will be a financial outcome based on the decisions you make about where you go to school, how much it costs, et cetera, and student loan debt, as well as what's your income going to be once you have your career. So like anything, you need to create a plan, and the earlier you can start that process, the better. So there's a lot of variables that they have to take into consideration, and I think people should think about it like they're making a purchase, a major purchase. And so this purchase has to do with what's it going to cost me to go to college? And there's a lot of choices, right? So they have to think about how they're going to put that together, look at different colleges and costs, and compare them. But they also have to determine how they're going to pay for college. And so it's important to go through really all of the variables, like how much free financial aid am I going to get? How much can my parents, or are my parents going to contribute if they can, or any other family members that might be contributing, and what does that add up to? And, for parents, a great tool to use to help plan for college and save is the EdVest program here in Wisconsin. So that's a 529 savings plan where you can put money into investments every month, and that money grows without any tax implication. So it grows tax deferred, and when you take it out and use it for college, there's no taxes on whatever gains you made also. Plus you get a tax deduction here in the state for your contributions. So that's a really important thing to consider and start as early as possible. And then of course, the student hopefully has some savings, that they've gotten throughout high school, maybe working in a job and putting some of that money away. And again, it's important to make conscious decisions about that now, so that when you do get to college and you have to start paying for it, that you've got some money, saved up. And then of course, scholarships, and also, are you going to work during school? Because that can significantly reduce overall your student loan, debt, if you will. So if I summarize everything I just said, what's the college going to cost? How much money is available to pay for it? And if you subtract those numbers, you're going to come up with a shortfall or a surplus. And unfortunately, for most students and families, it's a shortfall, which means you have to borrow money. And borrowing money isn't a bad thing to make a purchase, but you need to understand what your monthly payment is going to be, because you own that once you start your career. And the question is, does it fit into your budget? Does it allow you to do the things you want to do from a lifestyle standpoint? And those are a lot of the things that students have not really, I think, seen or found tools to assist with kind of giving them a view into what their financial life's going to look like in the future.
Pat, thank you so much for going over that. You mentioned so many different variables when it comes to preparing just to pay for post-secondary education and where those sources of money come from. Can you tell us more? Because you mentioned how important it is to plan. Are there any other tools that students and families can use to start to prepare financially for their future?
Yeah, there is. So the organization I work for is a nonprofit here in Wisconsin. We're located in Milwaukee, and we're called Secure Futures. We're mission oriented, so we're not selling anything, but we create financial education programming to help young people, teens and young adults, build the skills and knowledge really to become financially empowered. And we built a program called Moneypath about 3 years ago. And Moneypath is available for free at no cost because we raise the money from generous donors. But it's available to all high schools in Wisconsin and all high school students. And we just rolled it out with the Department of Public Instruction. And I know Jim is aware of that. And I'll just talk about that for a couple of minutes because it's a super powerful tool. And the reason we built it is because we couldn't find anything that did what it does. So what Moneypath allows the students to do is to build this real life financial plan that will help them see what things are going to look like. And I'm just going to illustrate a few of the screens that we have on our website so that students and parents that are viewing this presentation can get an idea what it looks like. And again, Muskego High School and Jim know how to provide access to the students for free. So again, just a thumbnail overview. So when the student gets in the application, so it's a browser-based application, they would choose where they're at in life now, and that would be in high school, obviously. And I'll just go through a couple of the screens here. And then they would choose college if they intend to go to college. You can see I've got that highlighted here. And then once they're in there, and again, I'm skipping some of the screens, but once they choose college, the first thing they're going to do is actually choose their career that they're interested in. And I have queued up here nursing as an example, but you can see there are many other careers here that they could pursue in the health area, but there's literally hundreds of careers in different disciplines. And they can actually see the starting salary for last year's graduates that were nursing students. So it gives them a really good indication of what potentially their earning would look like once they graduate. And so now if you go back to what I started with, which is how much is it going to cost to go to school, you can pick any school in the country. We have the entire database in here, and you can see that the sticker price here for UWM here in Milwaukee is about $24,500. So that's the amount it's going to cost per year to go to school. Now I have to figure out where the money's going to come from. And so this is just a summary of, again, a hypothetical plan that I built. But you can see those areas that we talked about as far as where's the money going to come from. And so my example here has that there's about $18,000 a year in funding available. And the reason that's important is now we look at that cost of school, this $24,000, the $18,000 that we have available, and I'm short $6,000. This helps the student and the parent understand how much they might need to borrow per year. And then we sort of forecast that out for them here on the right side. So if they have to do that 4 times, if they're going to a 4-year school, they're going to have to borrow about $25,000 in some way, shape, or form to make this happen. And we show them what the interest will be that they have to pay back, and we show them their monthly payment. So it's really critical that they understand they're going to have to pay $259 a month for 10 years. And then how does that fit into their budget going forward? So that's part of the tool. And the next part of the tool actually helps them see what it looks like once they're in their career. Do you want me to go ahead and just finish up by jumping into that?
Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Okay. So in the application, we fast forward them to the career they chose. I'll make this a little larger. And so here's that $56,000 that they're going to make as a nurse. And we show them their first monthly budget here. We take taxes out, their savings categories, and their spending categories. And the student literally goes in and edits this budget to make it very personalized. And we give them some tips on how to do that also right in the application. But at the end of the day, what we want to show them is this $259 a month in savings. And I'll back up one screen here. And I know this might be a little small, but here's that student loan amount of $259. And just coincidentally, we have them saving $259 a month too, but there's their student loan payment. So it's part of their spending. So this is what they can afford to save now once they have their job. And we show them how long it will take them to reach 4 different goals. In our example, it's an emergency fund, a car down payment, other self sort of defined goal, and a down payment for a home. And in this example, it takes them 10 years. But imagine if that student loan number was double, $500 or $600. This timeline would go way out. It would take so much longer for them because they wouldn't be able to save $259 a month. So it's really important for students to see how it will fit into their financial life once they start that career. And then we even show them saving for retirement early and how that can grow money over a 40-year period of time. And then finally, and really critically, is we allow them to save paths. So here's 4 different paths that are saved, and they can actually compare the paths to help them make decisions on what is the right path for me with college, what school, how much student loan debt can I handle, et cetera. And this is what that looks like, where it lines up 3 different career or college paths, and it helps them make decisions. So that tool, again, is called Moneypath, and it's available to all the Muskego High School students and their parents, and again, across the state also.
Pat, thank you for showing us that amazing tool. A couple things you said kind of really stick out in my mind. You said a good way to look at students' next steps is start with the end in mind. So where do you want to go so that you can start to plan accordingly the financial obligation that's going to come out of it? And then the other thing you said too is borrowing money for your post-secondary education is not a bad thing, but how do you plan for it? And what Moneypath does, and I'm really impressed with the system and the things that are offered to our students and families, is you can start to compare schools, universities, 4-year, 2 years, degrees, and really start to break down the differences that are out there between the schools financially to decide what's going to help best set you up for your future and financially how that'll impact your budget and income after you graduate. So Pat, I thank you for your time. Students and families, we do have access to this. If you ever want more information, just let us know and we can get you onto the system so that you can start to look at it. Again, Pat, thank you. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, and good luck to you.